Hope everything's going great wherever you are. Another sunny day. It's been an incredible time. If you're going to be stuck inside your house, can't ask for better weather than what we're having here in the Carolinas right now. Today, we're going to have a special guest with us. It's Thursday, so that means it's going to be Patrick Hayes talking Veterans Bridge Home Network. We're waiting for him to join us. We've got a couple things going on. Tomorrow is the happy hour. So if you've not joined us on the happy hour, you should. It's kind of fun. Last week we had several folks who joined us Friday at 5 for a Zoom happy hour. We had a bunch of good time. This week we're having a specialty cocktail. So be careful when you go to the grocery store. But if you're going to the grocery store, pick up some lime juice, pick up some limes, pick up some ginger beer, pick up some vodka, because we're going to have Moscow Mules as the signature cocktail for the happy hour on Friday. So join us. Looks like Patrick Hayes is out there. I'm going to invite him in. Join us.
We'll talk a little bit about what's happening in housing in Charlotte and the surrounding areas with Patrick.
Hey, Steve.
What's happening, Patrick? How are you?
Hanging in there, man. Just hanging in there. Ready for the weekend.
Same here. How's your arm doing?
It is much better. It is much better. I don't know if we talked about the tangle with the St. Bernard last time we were on, but yes, no cast, just a sling and a splint when I need it, and I'll be good to go in a couple of weeks.
Good. Yeah, no, I don't know that you and I did, but the St. Bernard is yours, so it's not like you were attacked by Cujo or anything. It was just running with a giant puppy is challenging, I'm sure.
Running in general is challenging for me.
Fair. So wanted to talk a little bit about housing in the Metrolina region with you today, as we're talking about veteran services. Housing has remained the top need in our community for the last 2 years, but that's a pretty big category. When we talk about housing, what are people calling the care coordination team about?
Okay. Well, it's no secret that our community is in the middle of an affordable housing crisis. And in Charlotte, in the surrounding area, that can look a lot of ways. You know, we can be talking about the ability to get into a new home, a first home, with housing prices on the increase. But predominantly what we're talking about is the rental market. Rents in Charlotte have rapidly outpaced inflation. And there's a number of challenges that come with that. We're in a very strong economy. Occupancy rates are above 95%. Landlords have very little incentive to accept any degree of risk. They also don't have much of an incentive to work with housing providers, such as ourselves, Catholic Charities, the VA, Veteran Services of the Carolinas. The assistance that's available to veterans and to the general population generally has rent limits on it. They say that, okay, we think the fair price of a one-bedroom apartment in Charlotte is around $900 a month. Well, I don't know if you've shopped for an apartment lately. $900 a month in Charlotte doesn't get you much anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so if a landlord can rent that same unit for $1,100, $1,200 on the private market, why would they accept a $900 a month voucher?
Sure.
So we get a lot of folks who call up who have been accepted into a housing program, whether it's SSVF Section 8 or HUD-VASH, which is essentially a Section 8 voucher for veterans, but they're unable to find a landlord that's willing to take that. And then prevention. And prevention is somebody that's late on their rent. They're possibly looking at eviction. They're looking at having a couple of months balance due, and that can add up very quickly. And so Crisis Assistance Ministry, great organization, great partner. They can generally help someone with $400 to $600. But if your rent's $1,200 to $1,500, that $400 to $600 doesn't go far. And we've got a couple of other partners that we can generally kind of piecemeal something together. Dwayne Wells on our team is fantastic at aligning multiple resources to help somebody out. But if you get 2 or 3 months behind on rent in Charlotte, it can be very challenging to get caught up.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the number of services that one veteran would need, and housing is a great example. I mean, there's emergency assistance that the crisis assistances or the Good Friends, Good Fellows can provide. There's food assistance, which lets you save some money so that you can apply it to things that you can't, that money could be applied someplace else. You probably need a job. You're probably not getting paid enough if you can't make rent. You maybe aren't getting your benefits. So you can see how one person with what sounds like a housing need could be served by a whole pit crew of people that together can help that individual.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely correct. And one of the things you brought up, that food referral, if you're spending $200-300 a month on groceries, if we can get someone connected with Loaves and Fishes, Second Harvest Food Bank, both of them are fantastic partners, then they can apply that money to that utility bill, that rent bill that month, and just get a little bit ahead.
Yeah. I think it's worth saying out loud. We say it a lot internally, but the current crisis right now that people are experiencing is going to get worse. When we collectively sort of come out of this stay at home and people don't have jobs yet, but their rent is now due, courts are in session, and utility bills start arriving or utilities start getting shut off. That's the bigger, I think there's more out there than a lot of people think. When we get to start going back to work, there's people that are on the edges that are really going to be struggling. So I think it's worth just saying out loud. You listed a bunch of housing providers, and it sounds really confusing to me. The HUD-BASH, Section 8, SSVF. I mean, how do I know what I qualify for out there? If I need housing assistance, what do I do?
I would recommend that you reach out to Veterans Bridge Home, to the NC Serves Network, whether you're in our catchment area or one of the other networks, and talk to one of the care coordinators there, because there is a lot of nuance to these programs as to who qualifies for what and what may be the best fit. And so having a conversation with someone who can help guide and point you can really be beneficial. You can also connect directly with the VA. If you're in the Charlotte area, you can go to the second floor of the clinic out on Tyvola and talk with one of the housing social workers there. And so that's another option. But really talking to someone who works in the space and has an understanding of the programs is probably your best bet. And we can point you to either any of those providers or even providers and programs that might not be contingent on your veteran status, but may actually be the best fit for you because you've got something else going on that makes your situation a little bit different.
Yeah, safe and affordable housing is a growing need in our community. Veterans are no different than that. It is, I find it to be very confusing. And the nice thing is, at least for the veterans community, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to know all the programs. You really just have to know, can I reach out to Veterans Bridge Home? Can I reach out to the NC Serves provider in my region, whether it's out Western North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina, the Triangle region? There's somebody there who can help navigate that. Take the guesswork out, get you less frustrated, less bureaucracy, shorter amount of time. So let's talk specifically about SSVF, or the Supportive Services for Veterans and Families. We're a sub-grantor for that program. That's a little bit of a departure for what we've been doing in the past. We just started doing that work with Catholic Charities this past year. Tell me a little bit about that program.
So SSVF is a great opportunity for veterans to get connected with housing resources. The intent of the program is that it is a short-term program. You're looking at a 3 to 6 month program where veterans get access to a number of different services, case management, employment services. If needed, there is a temporary financial assistance component to that program. And the idea is that we take someone who is at risk of becoming homeless or is literally homeless, get them back on their feet, provide them with the support and services that they need so that in a couple of months they take over paying that rent payment on their own, transition out of the program and just drive on with life. There's been some real changes to the program in response to the COVID pandemic. A lot of things that were previously not allowed are now allowed, and a lot of things, the amount of assistance available has been greatly increased. One of the most unique things that they're doing during COVID-19 is that if you are a veteran who has risk factors, you're over the age of 60, maybe you have an underlying medical condition, things like that would prevent you from being in a congruent living living facility. That's a fancy word for one of the shelters here in town. The SSVF program can possibly put you in a hotel. So that way, you're not exposed to the COVID-19, you're in a safe place. And we've had a lot of folks who maybe previously weren't interested in SSVF say, hey, I got to get out of this shelter. I can't live like this. And so the ability to put them in a hotel while you're conducting that housing search to get them into permanent housing has been a great benefit to the program. One of the other things they've done in response to the pandemic is they've lifted the financial assistance caps. There used to be a very specific amount of money that you could put towards someone's rent. And as I said earlier, that can just really be challenging in Charlotte. I mean, if you've got a max of, say, $2,500 or something that you can spend on one family, that's a security deposit in 1 month's rent in Charlotte frequently. But for the next 90 days during the pandemic, those caps have been lifted, and we have the flexibility to assist people who are a little more behind on their rent. So if you're a veteran living in Mecklenburg County and you are at risk of losing your housing through eviction, you're late on your rent, things like that, and you're earning less than 50% of the median income, which for a single person is around $29,000, give us a call. Let's talk about it. We can take your late notice. We can take the information from your landlord, send it over to Catholic Charities or Veteran Services of Carolinas, another partner we work with, and see if they can't get you some assistance during this difficult time.
Yeah, that's great. And so if you are watching this and you're saying, well, it doesn't apply to me, know that it does apply to some veteran in our community. And so, share this information, share the video, but share the link, veteransbridgehome.org. You can click in the top right corner to get assistance, for those who need help. Put that in their housing assistance, and you can, one of our care coordinators will get with you and see if you qualify for that program. And if not that one, then another one that exists in Charlotte for you and your family. So, hey, Patrick, thanks for your time today. It's always great to see you. Glad to see that you're on the mend too.
Thanks for the invite, Steve.
Yeah. And hey, everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow we have the VBH Sit Rep on Friday at noon right here on Instagram. And in the meantime, as always, be safe, be healthy, and be the bridge, everybody. Take care.